Oh, we're live.
It's
We're live. We're not keeping all this talent to ourselves anymore.
No, absolutely not.
Let me go ahead and share. Let me go so I can share it on the Twitterverse. Oh, there it is. Glitchy
just in case something goes wrong, you know.
That's right. We want people to know what they're signing up for. I don't even have to add anything to that title. I just shared it on Twitter. It's perfect as it is.
Okay, now let me see because I still can't find myself.
I only see me. Let's see if I hear you on here. Hold on. Oh, now I see you.
Oh, do you?
I see you on. It? Yeah, it's switching back and forth. Okay.
Monkey Moo. Share Bear, Linda Tannick. Miss Mimi Star. How are you?
Linda Tannick, if you had the chance to change your fate, would you? That's the only thing I can say in Scottish. Sorry, Linda.
To change your fate.
That's from the movie Brave. Remember with this? It's like a Scottish girl with the flaming red hair. Brave. Obviously, you don't watch animated films.
No, that's so original though, with the flaming red hair.
Miss Star.
All right, where am I? What did I do for Twisted not to like me? Hi, Share Bear. Of course I like you. Let me see.
Thank you, Share Bear. My fairy lights are so popular. I put them in a lot of my my vlog links. They are purchasable on Amazon. And I'm having a little bit of wine because it's Friday.
Is there a lag?
There's a delay between what you're seeing on your YouTube channel and what's going on the Hangouts. So I think that your guests are seeing it in real time, I think.
Well, that's nice because you look like an anime right now. Your lips are moving now. You're taking a sip. This is
well, if you look at it on yes, I'm so talented. I think if you look at it on the Google Hangouts where we're live, it might be a little different. But you know, I noticed it last time, so I just stopped watching my face.
I have to stop watching you. It's gonna screw me all up.
Right, it is. It's hard. It's like trying to pat your head and rub your tummy. Hi, Christine Gregory.
Let me see who's here. Hey guys, I want to know who's sick of the baloney going on around YouTube. We need something fun like a crime story.
Just good old-fashioned murder.
Yeah, a little murder mystery or something.
Lovebirds is here. Hi.
Hey, Lovebirds, how are you?
Yeah, she didn't say anything mean about you, Share Bear.
No. It was probably about, you know, Biznatchy over here.
Coco.
Yes. All right, wait a minute. Maybe I should go on Google Hangouts. What is everybody doing this lovely Friday night? I can tell it's so lovely because we're all here together.
I'll just keep the drink by my mouth and you won't be able to see any lag.
Come on, tell the truth, guys. We all have such a life.
You said you wanted to talk about crime, and I am my grandmother's daughter. So if there's one subject I know about, it's crime. I've watched them all, sometimes twice. And the person you mentioned, I think, was called the
Magnolia.
Magnolia? Yeah.
She was an evil woman.
The most manipulative person. Pat Allanson, right?
Yes.
Magnolia.
And what was his? Oh, I can't believe I forgot his name.
His name was Tom.
That's right.
And what happened was she grew up with very lofty ambitions. And and one desire, which was to live as though she were in Gone with the Wind. And when she went through a lot of men, she left, like I think she was pregnant at 15, left home, came back 3 years later with 3 kids. And because it was the custom in that family, she just kind of left them with the parents and moved on and said, I'm just going to marry wealthy. That was she was looking for a meal ticket. So she dated a bunch of men. None of it worked out until she met Tom, 6 years her junior. And obviously I read up on this. I had time to refresh my memory in the green room.
Yes. And
yeah,
she was sadly mistaken because Tom didn't get along with his parents. So therefore, Tom was on the outs.
Well, it was worse when she came along, and she actually used that to her advantage, because their main problem with him started to become her, because as soon as they got together, he wanted her to have everything she wanted. So he overextended himself. She made him buy a 52-acre farm, Tara. They had a big Gone with the Wind wedding. She just, his parents were like, we're sick of you, you big dum-dum. We're writing you out of the will. And she was like, oh, hell no, that ruins my plans to get my hands on that money. So she deliberately drove a wedge. He came home one day and she was crying and like an actress. She was, oh my gosh, your father, I was just going over there to try to make the peace. And he
exposed himself,
made lewd comments and all this stuff. So of course he wanted to kill him. And she's like, oh, no, you mustn't. And
no, he exposed himself, she said, right?
Yeah. She said he exposed himself and made lewd comments to her. And so that he thought, he was doing weirdlies with his wife. So he was like, I'm going to kill him. And she's like, oh, no, I just want peace. And his parents became very afraid of him. His father reported that a gun was stolen from the house, that a pistol and some weapons were gone. And they were like, there's nothing we can do. There's no big deal. Then the parents were driving along one day.
Shots fired.
Shots fired, yes. You want to take it from there? Do you know the rest?
No, go ahead. You're doing great.
Okay, so they're really scared. Can you imagine? They're like, look, we tell you he's trying to kill us, and they've been shot at, these 2 old people. They're like, Jeebus, Christmas on a cracker, he's going to kill us. And they're like, no. So they're home alone one day, and they know someone's in the basement. How friggin' scary is that? The dad goes down with his or something and goes, who's there? Come out, show yourself. And then
he set it up, though.
She did speed it up because she wanted,
him to go make amends with his mother. That's right. And he went there to do that.
Yes, and there's some question about what happened. We don't know how much her involvement was, because he swears he didn't fire a gun or anything. But the father started firing blindly and said to the wife, call the cops. And when the cops got there, both parents were dead, riddled with bullets.
Oh, can you imagine, guys?
And it gets worse because while he's on trial, she's making the trial worse for him. The lawyers can't deal with her. She's so bossy and controlling and ruining everything. And she's having these outbursts in court. And he does get convicted of both murders. And she's just hysterical. And then hey, I'm a froggy. She visits him in prison with like a Bible, but that Bible secretly has a suicide pact. She's trying to talk him into committing suicide with her, which we both know she wants. You go first.
Yes, of course.
I'll be right after you.
I'm right behind you, darling. Trust me. Then how about the grandparents?
That's where it really gets so damn creepy, because Nana and Pawpaw are completely by themselves. They've lost their children. And their other daughter, by the way, who was going to take over, is now ostracized from them as well. And Pat has convinced them, this horrible, creepy woman has convinced them that she is what they need and she will take care of them. And because they're old and ailing, they move in with her and they agree. And she says, she's like this close to getting her hooks in everything. But the estranged daughter, is highly suspicious, especially when Nana's health starts really declining, and then Pawpaw's too, and he's having a hard time because he's lost everything, and now his wife's sick. So, being very, very suspicious, the daughter exposes the fact that these two elderly people have arsenic in their system.
Can you imagine? She tried to say that the grandfather was drinking. Do you remember?
Yes.
And he was taking too much of his medication.
Sure.
When all along she's poisoning the poor old guy.
And he really was manipulative and had people fooled. And when she first had that 52-acre estate, people thought they were rolling in dough. They actually got a visit from Jimmy Carter at that 52-acre Tara. So she was really quite manipulative. And the family was just done with the son. And after these people were taken from her, she was put in prison finally. And I think she got out in 1999 and opened up a store, Pat's Pretty Playthings, which was, she sold dolls. What could be creepier? Being in her store at night with the dolls.
What could be creepier? Having her take care of you when you're invalid. Yeah. How about that?
Yeah, that's the kind of care I'm going to get when I'm in the home.
Guys, have any of you seen this, or are we just talking back and forth and no one knows what we're talking about?
Now they do. That's the beauty of all these details.
Yes. It was in this country. It was actually in Georgia, wasn't it? Atlanta.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was obsessed with Tara.
Because we all know those Southerners. those Southern belles.
See, that's what's creepy, is that because Southern belles are known for being so polite, and you know that whole it's kind of the closest we have to a geisha, really. They're just polite and lovely and accomplished and all these things. So to think that all of that came wrapped up with a bow in a murderess.
Not only cared, the worst thing to me was after all of this, I have to stop looking at you. Because I'm looking at you and it's really weirding me out. But
I stopped looking at me too.
After she goes through all of this, they give her a job. She gets arrested, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they give her a job. They know she's taking care of elderly.
Yes, she got trained to take care of the elderly, and she was caught doctor shopping. If anybody doesn't know what doctor shopping, that's when you go from doctor to doctor shopping for pills. And she was caught with 3,700 opiates and illegal distribution.
Can you imagine?
She was a drug dealer. She was like, whatever I have to do. My looks are failing. I need to sell drugs.
And they were failing, honey. If you take a look at those pictures.
Yeah, she hit the wall.
And she was so histrionic. She had a sore on her butt that she made it so bad because she kept picking at it. That's what she was doing. She was picking her skin. How could you forget that?
Yeah, I guess I blocked it out. She probably just wanted to get more attention.
She did. And the doctors didn't know why the sore wasn't healing. Well, it wasn't healing because she's probably rubbing her butt up against
Actually, I think the reason she did that was to be able to get opiates by having a real problem that could cause her pain.
Yep, what a sicko. And you don't know who these people are.
No, but did she have to choose her butt? I didn't want to say pick, but did she have to choose her butt? Like if you found some other place, like your armpit or something? No, she's got to drop trowel every time she goes to the doctor's office. Look at my butt.
Well, come on, let's face it. She kept saying all along through this whole history that this one raped her, the police officer raped her, she was getting assaulted by this one and that one. You know, everything that had to do with a man and her being assaulted. It seemed like anytime one of her children, I guess the granddaughter, was sick and in the emergency room, and the grandmother, which was Pat, she goes in there with her pants around her ankles.
Oh, gosh. This,
Would
by the
you
way, Frog
die?
is asking if this is a YouTuber or real life. This was a person in real life, and if you
Mhm.
look up on YouTube the Deadly Magnolia, there's an entire expose on her. There's more than one. So
The
that's
book
basically
was
who we're
so good.
talking about.
She was something else. She just wanted to be rich. She
Mm-hmm.
wanted the prestige. That's what she wanted the most out of life.
Yeah, she was definitely a social climbing sociopath.
Yes, she was.
She committed to this role because her feeling was, um, whatever I have to do, whatever I have to do, and the lines of propriety just didn't exist for her. She had no wall of impossibility, no moral compass. Her moral compass pointed towards the bank. That was it.
That's right. And do you remember the part in the where she had a brother that
Mm-hmm.
actually tried to commit suicide and she could care less?
Mm-mm. She didn't care. She was pretty much like that about anybody, her own children. She didn't
Hmm.
care. She was just like, whatever I have to do to make money, that was all that mattered. And even when she achieved a certain level, it was never enough. She wanted more.
No, it would have never been enough for her. She actually um, allegedly poisoned her own daughter.
Yes.
And how about the grandson? Do you remember that? The little
They were
um,
like, we got to catch her before she kills more people, because she definitely would have killed more people.
she would have went on and on.
Mhm. Well, she was taking care of two
Hey,
elderly sick
J-Lo.
people who were going to give her everything. And that wasn't enough for her. She couldn't wait, what, 2 or 3 years of taking care of them to get all of that money? Most people work a lot longer than that for retirement. But no, she had to have it now. And was just crazy. So she wasn't even very rational about what she did, which makes it amazing that she got away with it for so long. She found a very good victim in Tom.
She really did. And her mother was the perfect enabler. She enabled her from the beginning.
She did. She did. She told her, I'll watch the kids. You go ahead and get a man. Here's your one chance, fancy. Don't let me down.
Go get him, we'll all be rich. The mother, even put up her house, her beautiful
Yes.
house for Pat.
Yeah.
And she just, no, she did not care. And she used her mother too. She'd throw these fits. And I believe, in my opinion, that's how it all started. Way back in the day, she'd throw those little tantrums and she got what she wanted. So those behaviors become ingrained.
Oh, yes. Some of that was definitely nurture over nature.
Mm-hmm.
There's there's never going to be normal parents behind somebody like that. Very rare that there are normal parents behind someone like Pat.
No, unless, of course, there has been. I hate to say this is so cruel. Speaking about humans, but they're kind of like freaks in nature. Whatever happened in the genetic lines and the lineage. I don't know, cousins and
Wiring was wrong.
cousins, or
Yeah. Her wiring was definitely wrong. It's
yeah.
almost like the flip of that. Have you ever seen the movie All Good Things, based on the true story of that rich guy whose wife disappeared? It was played by Ryan Reynolds and the illustrious Kirsten Dunst, and it's currently on Netflix. Um,
No, I'll have to watch it. Is it a good one?
yeah, I liked it, but I really like suspense thrillers a lot, and he, if you know anything about the real story, he does a really good job, because this guy was wacky, 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 and he was like Mr. Right when she met him, and he just got worse and worse and worse, did not want children. And his father was just effed up and didn't like her, and this whole thing. And then she just disappears, and they know he killed her. And he just starts dressing like a woman and being weird, and living off of his trust fund in this weird condo with another weird old man neighbor. That, like, weird stuff happened there too.
Oh, I lost my page. Oh no.
What is that? Are you in the airport hangar?
I think yes. I'm like, where am I? Here I am.
Hi, J Love Catastrophe. We were talking about Pat Allison, also known as, if you Google or look up on YouTube, the Deadly Magnolia. She was a woman who manipulated and committed murder and all those kinds of things. That it's got everything: money and romance and murder. So you'll find it on like 48 Hours and all of those channels.
Yes, and Linda and J Love, don't worry about it. We all have our things. As long as our things aren't buried in the backyard, I think we're okay. You don't want to start
You know what?
finding holes in your backyard.
I met a guy. Have you ever had somebody younger talk to you, or like somebody potentially handsome? It's like Ted Bundy syndrome. Like this guy started talking to me. Where was I? I was living in Tennessee. It was a few years ago, and I was going to like a work thing, and he was there, and he starts talking to me, and I was like, "This is how." He really creeped me out. He was being overly friendly, and I'm like, "This is what it's come to. That I'm actually flattered by this." And I'm just like, "How bad is it going to get?" I'm going to be like, "So, first, no, you wanted to kill me."
No, you don't know.
Oh, sex with my lifeless corpse. I'm married, mister, but you're so sweet.
Flip me anyway.
Compliments graciously accepted.
Oh, geez. Here's the thing, though. When it comes to sociopaths and psychopaths, you can know them for years and really not know who they are. And are you still laughing? Be quiet.
No, I was taking that in.
Okay.
If there's anybody I know, because like all people, I'm arrogant enough to believe that nobody could fool me. So,
they can fool you.
Life, I would know. I would know. The last time I was by a fruit. But I can't get fooled for long. I'm watching too closely.
Well, here, I usually do that too. But the thing is, most average people don't do that. I think it depends on how you grew up and what kind of family and what your education is, what your employment is, on how deep you look at someone. But a true sociopath and psychopath, they know when to cry. They know when they're supposed to feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
They have learned to adapt. So
I've said, don't feel bad if you get fooled by a sociopath, because
right.
They're very good because they believe their own lies. So in a sense, they're not lying because they believe it. So it's very hard to detect it.
Absolutely.
There are ways.
And they're not.
The number one way I have found is that when you have to look for signs of empathy in the people that you meet and the people that you know, and ask yourself, does this person genuinely feel for people? Not because we're not what we say, we're what we do. And those are usually the tells. When people say everything right, you believe them at first because you're a nice person and you wouldn't say that unless you mean it. But what happens is you start to notice that, you start to notice that there's a dead look in their eyes, or that they don't really seem like you could tell them the dog died, and they might just go, okay, and just not, if they hear something, they don't have a genuine immediate reaction that somebody would naturally have. You can't fake stuff. Like, I don't think you can fake sincerity for long, because those are the things that give somebody away, a lack of empathy.
That's one of the main things. But sociopaths are not always murderers. They're your scammers, the ones that are, oh, you're so cute and you're this and you're that, just to get what they want. It manifests in different ways for different people.
Well, that's the thing that's tricky with psychology, is so many things can have similar symptoms and mimic one another. So absolutely, when we say sociopath, we don't mean psychopath, but, definitely someone who is out for themselves and themselves alone and doesn't know how to feel empathy.
Absolutely. And your average, narcissist, they don't either. It's all about them. That's just how it is.
And I know some people who are very nice who still make things about them. And you kind of want to say, okay, don't turn every sentence back to you. You know what I mean? Like, you don't, that's just general manners though. Like, people don't always know they're doing it. You know,
Right.
I try to ask people about themselves and be interested in them. Some people are such good listeners. It would be so easy to just unload and dump and take advantage of that. So as
Right.
I've gotten older, something I try to pay attention to is, am I taking or am I giving? And
To be
so,
aware.
right. And even my energy, I want to have a giving energy where I'm not, you know, sucking the, because some people are emotional vampires, right? I'm just like suck the life out of people. So I try not to be that way. And more about me. I try not to talk too much about me.
Well, there's times in our lives, you know, that
Sure.
a friendship is give and take, where there's sometimes, you know, you're having a hard time. But
Mm-hmm.
if it's a pattern and it's always, you know, like when Biznatchy over here says she stubbed her toe, and I say, well, I did the same thing, but my ankle broke.
Yeah, my mom used to do that too. She'd be like, "Oh, you think you have problems? So you like hers?" I actually like my friends to dump on me. I'm more concerned with, am
Right.
I dumping or taking too much, or you know what I mean? Like, you want to be a vehicle of positivity. You don't want to give too much either, because sometimes people have a need some people have a need to give to you, and that's harder
Right.
for a lot of people. I have found through vlogging and on this YouTube thing that most people I come across are not just nice, they're really sweet and nice, like in ways that inspire me. And I don't think
Right.
everybody knows their best qualities. Everybody's always careful about, you know, making sure they're putting their best foot forward. But I notice there's a lot of people on here who are so natural and just so
Yes.
genuinely give of themselves. They're kind of shy when they first vlog, you know, or they're not. I just was watching somebody today, Beauty Boomer, and she's just a very naturally genuine, sweet person who I enjoy listening to, because it's just, that's when it's okay to kind of just take, when you're just kind of like absorbing how nice somebody is
Right.
by watching their video. So I don't know how we got on that kick from sociopaths, but maybe we needed a nice people chaser after that cuckoo woman.
Uh-oh. Do you
What?
hear that?
A dog?
No, am I glitching?
No.
I am glitchy,
You're
people.
glitchy and I'm bitchy. In case anybody was wondering who was bitchy.
Yeah, it's not me.
No way.
I don't go around falling in holes to break my ankle because she stubbed her toe. Oh no. Am I echoing to anybody in the chat?
Not to me, but let me turn on my.
Oh, Frog Puss hears echoes. Oh no.
Do you still?
I am. No, I think it's better now. You know what I'm sick of? Let me tell you. Let me get you on this little rant here.
Go ahead.
She's being the nice one. I'm going to get on the rant.
I'll jump on the bitchy bandwagon. I have no problem.
Okay.
I'm gonna need another wine cooler.
I am so sick and tired of people coming on YouTube blatting. Like, do you have to just crying about minor things? Yeah, that's right. Didn't know what to say, did you? An example? Well, yeah. I stubbed my toe, my back hurts. I farted sideways. I don't know, took a chunk of my butt. You know what I mean? Like, just
looking at my butt, it hurts.
Yeah, like all this kind of wacky stuff. You know, this one, I don't know, puts her toilet paper on the wrong way, or
that's so sad,
isn't it? Because then you're going to get it on the wall. Come on, there's only one way to put your toilet paper roll on.
Well, I don't know. I definitely not the toilet paper, but I mean, like, in terms of people talking about trivial things, yes, because I have been watching this girl,
Just lately.
Emily Hayward is her name.
Yeah, I don't know.
I started watching her. I didn't know she was marrying a woman. That has nothing to do with anything. But she's this young gay woman in the UK, and she has been diagnosed with terminal cancer. This girl does not know how to be negative. She has had this for 7 years, and I can tell watching her videos that
she doesn't feel well.
Yeah, and in fact, she's so positive. The other day, she's like, she actually talks like a kind of like a female Gordon Ramsay. She's like, right, not feeling so well. She's like, what's up with you lot? I'm not feeling so well. And then she's like, I don't know why. And she's got no hair. She's wearing a baseball cap, and she actually is like, I don't know why I'm not feeling well.
Oh, you know what?
She's amazing.
First of all, I don't like that. Let me tell you why.
Why?
Because then you make me feel bad about myself. If you are that good, it is truly amazing, isn't it? How some people are so grateful.
Yeah, that you feel bad for having first world problems or what have you.
Absolutely.
But don't because we all go through things that our perspective on the world is what it is at the time for the reasons it's supposed to be. If you were given, I mean, any one of us can be given a terminal diagnosis at any time, right? But you don't live like you are. You're supposed to live with a healthy awareness of your mortality. So, but you can't always feel it, right? Do you wake up every morning clicking your heels that you don't have a toothache? Yay, it's a wonderful day. I don't have a toothache. No, but if you had one yesterday and they cured you of it, you'd be so relieved. 3 weeks ago, I was sick for 6 straight hours, and I never get sick. And I was sick, and I couldn't go to work for 2 days, which really depressed me. And I was so sick that when I wasn't sick anymore, I felt like I had a new lease on life. You can't make that last, though. It's like it becomes elusive, and life just is what it is. So you shouldn't feel guilty if you're upset that you stubbed your toe. I mean, unless you're bitching about it for a week.
My ankle. You stubbed your toe. I broke my ankle.
Yeah, just to
screwed it all up. I can't. What is this? What kind of give and take is this? If you're gonna try to take the thunder,
you stole my stub toe thunder. I did that to my friend. She had like a greater loss than I did at one time. My mom died, and like she had like a few things go wrong, and I'm like, wow, had to steal my dead mom thunder, didn't you? Had to outdo me. Had to outdo me.
Well, we can't even go there about that. We need to listen. Let me say something totally off this subject.
Go ahead.
Anyone, Ms. Mimi Star, who felt like they've dated a sociopath or a narcissist, everybody has been in that boat at one time or another. As long as you are out of it and you're okay, it's a lesson learned, a hard one, but it's a lesson learned. And
yes,
I am definitely echoing now. Does everybody hear that?
No, but I'll turn it down somewhere. Maybe that will help. I don't hear it. Are you too close to your? Oh, now I hear it a little.
Do you?
Rather, I hear me echoing, which is what I heard last time when we spoke. I could hear myself talking. Maybe turn your volume down a little.
Hey, G, why do I sound too loud to you?
No, but I could hear myself, which means that I'm echoing on yours like I did last time. I don't know. Maybe I should wear my headset.
Well, that's probably it.
But it didn't happen when I was talking with everyone else. It's only you, Coco. You and your ankle. It's only when I'm on the Glitchy or Bitchy show. Wait, you keep going down these great avenues, but then you zig and then you zag. I want to know if you ever dated a sociopath.
Myself? Mm-hmm. A sociopath?
Narcissist?
Let's put it to you this way. I have been in relationships that were not the healthiest. Absolutely. When I was younger, I sure did. And, what I've learned now that I'm an old married lady is there are red flags that some of us refuse to see. And those red flags can be binging up all over the place. And some people will hop over them and go through this obstacle course because they don't want to see the red flags, but they are there.
Yes, that's true.
They're there. And I think, I don't know what it is. There are some girls that, they go towards what's familiar to them. People, not just girls, people in general.
I've seen people invest in someone and
Hi, Ashley.
no, they shouldn't. Ashley Claire. I've seen people, invest in someone that they probably shouldn't, but as they say, all advice in matters of love is useless. So you just support them and hope that they, the red flags become a big enough issue that they realize that it's not going to get better and move on.
Absolutely. And one of the biggest things I believe is if your significant other ever does anything to you that you would be embarrassed of if someone else saw that incident or heard that remark. That's a big one.
That is a big one. Are they respecting you in front of other people? Absolutely. Yeah. I know somebody who was dating this guy, and I didn't worry because I knew eventually it wouldn't work out because he was kind of nuts. He had all kinds of problems. Yeah. And he would just say terrible things to her in front of everybody else. And that was like, he would just like make jokes that were not jokes, that were just like complaints.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And we're just like, oh, what an SOB. Who would put up with that? And she did. She didn't. Finally, he cheated on her, and that's how it ended. But it was one of those things where once she disengaged from him, after a week, she was over him. She was just like, wow. It was like the spell was broken. It was
absolutely great. That caught up in that toxicity.
Mm-hmm.
What I would like to do, let's see what the chat thinks, is maybe on the next stream to go through like the cycle of abuse and things like that, the warning signs and how it goes from the green light to the red light and what to be aware of. If anybody is interested in that, let us know.
Sassy cat. I would be interested in that. I have never dated anybody that terrible. I was addicted to the worst one. I was addicted to someone. Have you ever had that? Like I was really addicted to someone and I fell into a cycle of the push and pull where when I would start to get over him, he'd get me under his thumb again and I would do it. And then it was like the sun came out from behind a cloud because the tides of his affection turned my way again. And then when he was disinterested, I would just sit and wait. And I only did that one time. And not for very long. I just couldn't deal with it. I was like, Carrie, do you have any dignity at all? Move on. There's 8 billion people on the planet. You don't need this a-hole.
Well, there's so many things that go into it. And again, I've worked with a lot of people that were in domestic violence relationships, and there's just so much that goes into it. People will say, and I hate that, where way back in the day when I was a teenager, I kind of had that thought a little bit myself. Well, it must not bother them or they wouldn't be there. There's so much that goes into it. There's financial control. They try to throw you off balance with that, act like you're dirt and then, oh, I'm so sorry and I wouldn't do this and blah, blah, blah.
Isolate you.
Absolutely. And then it gets so bad for some that even in everyday manner, just having manners, basic manners, they twist that in their minds that this person is really good. And it's like, no, that's basic manners. Anybody should treat you that way.
They also hold on to the good things, those good times, because they get that sorry, I knocked my desk. They get that PEA hormone rush, it's called. That's when you're giddy from someone. That's when And that's one of the reasons it's bad to date someone you work with, because you don't want a PEA hormone rush at work. You'll make wrong change. You'll make mistakes. You lose your focus. But what happens is people get addicted to that. And so they hang on to the good times. They hang on for those moments. But a good relationship can't be just moments. And it's all of it. It has to be the good and the bad. And you just cannot accept ill treatment from anyone at all to have your real happiness. Even if there are some wonderful little moments, they're not worth it. They're bastard all the rest of the time.
Have you ever heard this one? People say, well, men are just like that. No, they're not.
She said, yeah, I've heard that one too, and I don't get it. Oh.
My stalker made himself the sweetest, most gentle, of course.
Mm-hmm.
It's an act and they reel you in. And before you even know what hit you, for some that do not see those red flags, I would love to get into that. I have all my stuff. That's really scary, Jen. That's an awful feeling.
And what happens is people who are very good, they don't just present themselves well, they wait until you trust them.
Mm-hmm.
And they build trust with these people. And like when people say, why don't battered women just leave? They really don't understand.
No, they don't.
Systematic stripping of the will that happens over time. And they do not feel it's an option. And by the time things go wrong, you have been reeled in and hooked in such a way that you're invested and then afraid of the change and afraid to not have them in your life because they've made you dependent on them in some way. Now, this hasn't happened to me. This is just something I know from abnormal psych. And
that happens. Absolutely. And I think there are a lot of people. I'm looking at you and your lips are moving. Go Godzilla.
Stop looking. It's like we're in a restaurant and the TV's on with no sound.
But you know, there's so much that goes into that the average person, you know, they don't really see that. And
Ashley, I'm so sorry. Ashley was with somebody for 2 years. He joined the Marine Corps, and it changed him so much that he ended up breaking bones. And I assume you mean yours. That is terrible. That is really terrible.
Are you talking about your bones, Ashley? That is awful.
And Jen Gerard touched on another important point. She said, then you feel ashamed for letting them in. And that's true because that's another reason people want to stick with it. They don't want to be that wrong. Oh, no, Ashley, it was her collarbone. Oh. Ashley, that's the kind of thing that makes me want to sing Goodbye, Earl.
And you know what? Going straight home is just exactly what you needed, hon.
Yes. Can you imagine if a kid came home with a story like that? Oh, man, that guy better get on the space shuttle.
Well, you know where we're from. He'd better be on the space shuttle.
I just love my kids so much.
To ever think that anyone is treating your child terribly, yeah, that's awful. That is all well and good, but then you can't say you didn't have the choice. That kind of mentality is what made feminism craziness.
And Ashley lied. She did one of those bumped into the door things because she knew her mom would have killed him. And that probably was wise because you don't want to see your mom go to jail. Not that Ashley wanted to spare that bastard, but she didn't want anything to happen to her mom. And that is just terrible.
We're glad you're not there, Ash.
Yes. Yeah, because those things do escalate. And when I was younger, do you remember the story on Long Island? There was like one weekend where three women were killed by their ex-husbands. And one of them at least had gotten jail release. And he went to the house the first day. He had 3 days off. He went the first day to kill her, but they were having a party for the kid in the backyard. So he came back the next day and he killed her. It was so sad. I'm glad I never dated anybody like that. I would never. That's one thing that would really, I would really have a hard time with. I just perhaps got very lucky. I don't think it's because I'm skilled at picking people who wouldn't hurt me. Certainly I have been hurt, but not, you know, that way. And when I was addicted to that one person, I probably would have let it go very far and still tried, because at one point I was just not myself. I just wanted to see him. I didn't want to do anything else but see him. I was addicted. Like I needed 12 steps. And I would, you know, cry all the time. And I was just like, how little do I think of myself, that I think this person defines me, this person who doesn't want me, who doesn't care that I'm crying, I'm going to cry over? Hell no. And I just had to pick myself up. I just made the decision that I didn't want to feel that way.
Hey, Nick Snyder. How you doing, hon?
Nick's here. Hey, bitches, he said.
So, yeah, I don't know. I've just seen a lot of people, and it seems to be the ones that grew up in this environment that was very chaotic, or there's addiction in the background, dysfunctional families. They're more prone, of course, to those kinds of relationships.
Low self-esteem, you know, they feel a happiness they haven't felt before. They're like, this is it. This is what they were talking about, right? They just feel great. And they want to hang on to that happiness no matter how bad it gets, especially when there's low self-esteem.
Absolutely.
And that person has beaten down your self-esteem, which can happen too.
And that's, like you said, you know, they'll say, oh, that's a joke. You can't take a joke. No, well, jokes don't hurt. Sorry. You know what I mean? If your joke makes me feel bad, you better get the step. You know? But I think that all comes with experience, unfortunately, time.
Where did you meet your husband? Can I ask? Or is that too personal?
Where I met him?
Tell me about Coco. Coco seems to feel so deeply. How did you meet your Prince Charming? The world wants to know more than the royal wedding. Who cares about that? I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah, mine's better. No, it's not really better. We worked together. That's how I met him. You know.
So you had that PEA hormone rush at work where you're making mistakes because you were in love.
I did, honey, and I did all kinds of stuff. I didn't even care. It was like, you know what? Clean my messes, because I'm all that in a bag of chips. That's what I thought when I was a kid. I really did. You know, you get out of that.
Karaoke. What's that?
Did you say you met your husband at karaoke?
Naturally.
Oh, you did.
And he told me I sang beautifully. And I lied and told him he sang beautifully because I really liked his bass. And he had real, in my defense, it was worth it to lie, because he had like muscular arms with like the shirt rolled up, and it just worked for him. He had like a green polo shirt. He was so handsome. And I was like, you sing great too. What was that you were singing? Was that John Denver?
Oh, look at her. She's blowing smoke up his rear end.
I really want to hear that song again.
She was singing that song to herself over and over that night.
My sense. He's so tone deaf, but
so my
nicest man and great father. So,
Gerard, press 1 if you love Nick.
Oh, I'm pressing 1. 1.
Hey, Mango. Hey, D. Albert.
I was talking to Nick the other day, and he kept saying stuff kept just flying over Mango's hairline. I didn't catch it until later. I was like, he was saying hairline instead of like over his head. It's like it just kept flying over his hairline. It's so funny. That dick makes him crazy.
Did you ever see that little clip of him? Now, someone said he was twerking. I thought he was trying to be comical.
That's what I thought when I first watched him. But then you watch him long enough, you realize he's serious. Like, if he laughed too, and like, if he didn't twerk for like 20 minutes, then it might be funnier. Like, I think stuff like that is best in small little doses, you know, like, I thought the first time I saw it, I cracked up because he like had the wig on. He had like the t-shirt thing. It was like very funny. But then he did another video, and he's like, and so later on there will be dancing. like he was announcing the talent. He really, I mean, it's funny because he tries to expose other people, but he does stuff to himself that's the kind of stuff people would want to hide. The stuff he's putting out there on purpose.
He's so gross. I can't help it.
Did you see the zucchini weenie picture?
No.
He's got like uncooked fried zucchini in between his legs, and he's holding his shirt over his junk, you know, with his half-closed eyes. Some things you can't unsee.
You know, that's terrible. I'm really running him into the ground. But the more I see of him and the more he goes after certain populations or does what he does, I really can't stand him. I can't. I can hold back.
Was there a time when you liked him, or was he immediately off?
Never. Never.
See, I did. I saw a couple of videos of his, and I just, you know, some people, it's like if you're watching the beginning of a movie or middle or an end, you're going to have different perspectives, and some people are at different phases of their mango opinion. And like for me, like a lot of people, it takes a little while. Like I saw him and I'm like, seems like a nice enough guy because he just knows what to say. And that's why I say don't feel bad. Don't feel bad if someone that good fools you because they believe themselves. That's why they're good at that. But he just talks very reverent and kind on his own channel. And I thought to myself, well, who could be lying if they're saying this? Well, a lot of people, and definitely this guy. He's like, so that's kind of a low blow, people saying stuff about me and my husband. That's a low blow. He's just looking all vulnerable and like, I could never understand how somebody could do that. Meanwhile, he's doing that exact stuff.
Jen, you have a drama poodle mug. We have to, there's nothing wrong with that poor little poodle. And it's not her fault. And honey, when you sip the tea, Jen, you have your pinky up, don't you?
That is too funny. Got to burn some sage in that.
Yeah, you need my $5 for that mug.
That was so funny. He was drunk on Hollywood Boulevard, even though he claims, I think, through Scientology that he rarely drinks or doesn't drink. He was drunk on Hollywood Boulevard, and then he was doing this thing. Did you see the You Now that was live yesterday? Or hear about it? No. He had a girl that he was with who was really drunk, who decided that Nick was listening in as himself. He doesn't like going under a disguise like a lot of people. And then she decides she's going to talk to Nick.
$17.
Stephen Mango.
Jen said it was like $17.95.
So much thirsty. Definitely she's going to use that. I want to know what Nick's new shirt is. Nick said he had a new shirt coming out today, and I couldn't find it. Frog, he did claim to be like, they were both supposedly shit-faced. And I guess she's wearing these big, huge sunglasses. And while Nick's talking to this girl, because she gets on his You Now stream, he can see that Stephen Mango is filming her. He sees him in the glasses with the camera. And then he starts talking and being like, I'm so drunk. And then Nick is like, can you hear me? And then he goes, I can't hear him. Like totally busted that he's pretending he can't hear him. And then he would take a jab and, and then leave. Ha, 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 I'm so drunk. And apparently he was at some kind of a meet and greet. They were in a bar that he claims was full of fans.
Listen, here's how I feel about him. He is full of it. After he made that big, huge mistake, which it was, let's admit it, he really stuck his foot in his mouth. Now he's trying to, be relatable, how he can go and have a couple drinks. Well, honey, that's not addiction, and you don't look cute, and I don't like him. Because all that's it. For me, I'm sorry. That's it. I am so... I can't stand him. That's so sad. I have to look within. Because I really... Yes, he does. He does. He's such a...
The dead eyes?
Yes. It is that. And that he thinks he's so immature for his age. that he thinks
Whatever that is.
Yeah, I think he's 26. Does anybody in the stream know?
28
What?
supposedly. 28 supposedly, but that seems to change. And then somebody said he was like, oh, I'm 38, and he had like a fake ID joke or something. But you pegged it. There's an immaturity. And actually, he's been given good advice by people like Nick, who are like, listen, do your research. If you're going to say things about people, do your research. It's like talking to a 12-year-old. You're like, buddy, you're going to get caught with these lies. Don't lie to people.
He has a difficult time accepting any kind of advice. Did you see the way he looked at Peter Mon?
No. Oh, yeah, when they were talking, and he was just staring, like nobody was talking to him at all, like he was waiting for a bus.
Yes. He just like zones out. He disassociates. He doesn't even want to hear what you're saying.
Yes. So, I noticed that too. He was just like, and I'm like, there can't be that much of a delay. He's just like,
that's right.
Strange.
And Petty Page gave him some really good advice.
Yes. I listened to the first part of that, and then I had to go to bed. But yeah, she was really nice to him, and she was, being diplomatic. And I hope, you'd think he would take advice, but I think in one ear, out the other.
Oh, yes. And my first couple of videos that I made was about Mango, was truly to help him. But, he's all about himself, and he's nuts. And like doxing.
Oh, that was sleuth. That was so tasteless. And actually, when he first said he was suing people, that was what I maintained. Not that this is about me being right, but I do enjoy being right. But I did say from the beginning, this is not about a lawsuit. He just is dying to dox this woman. He just wants to dox her. And of course, he was too lazy to get that information himself. Somebody probably gave it to him. But as soon as he had it, he released that information. It was just like, how could you? He had all that time to talk himself out of it, but he did it anyway. It never occurred to him to not do it.
And no, and he doesn't understand the gravity of what he does.
No, and he doesn't care.
No, not at all.
I'll show you. I'm going to one-up you. I'm going to,
Well, that's okay, because his sub count will keep going down.
Maybe. Don't underestimate the hate watchers. People do like drama, even if they don't like the person who's at the center of it. They don't want to miss it.
That's true. They do like it. And Jen Gerard said 20 gave him good advice.
Oh, definitely. She definitely did. And Peter Mon really gave him an out. Peter Mon could have absolutely laid into him, but his thing was, look, we can at least stay in our own lanes. I'm not going to say anything bad about you. He said all of the important stuff. I'm not talking bad about you. I haven't said anything bad about you. If you've heard I've said your name, text me. You have mine. He gave him his number. Right. They already had each other's numbers. He's like, text me and ask me. In other words, keep those lines of communication open, and I mean you no harm. In one ear, out the other, because right after that, the next day in his video, he's like, do I think Peter Mon was kind of a hypocrite? Yes, I do, because he said he wouldn't talk about me. And then I heard he was saying my name later. So now you're immediately turning around and doing exactly what he asked you not to. You're creating drama with him. You're taking whatever peace pipe he gave you and you're stomping on it by saying that he talked about your name was mentioned. So obviously it was something bad that was said about you. He couldn't leave that alone. Immature.
Absolutely. I saw that too. Jen Gerard says, I'm going to apply to be a YouNow partner and donate the proceeds to my domestic violence center. Jen, that's really nice. That's a good idea.
That is so nice. I'm keeping every penny I make, but that's nice of you. No, I think that's really an amazing gesture. And
it is.
It shows she's sincere. And that was interesting because I saw Jen Gerard's live stream for the first time yesterday, the day before, and I kept thinking of Mango's comments about her. I was like, this woman's nothing like what he said. If she was like this when she talked to him, why did he have a problem with her? He was just kind of like, I felt like she just wanted me to like her, as opposed to the rest of us who want to make a horrible first impression. I have to think about that now when I'm nice to somebody. That they're going to be like, I feel like, she was just like nice, like, like being nice to me. like all like high. Like, what does she want?
How weird.
Nice
Frog
people want something.
A Frog Push says, especially the danger he put her in.
You know, that is true too. That, you know, I don't know why he didn't think about that. Like, it's one thing to be skeptical.
Not a thought.
If you're skeptical about somebody's claim that they have a stalker, wouldn't that one part of you who doesn't know for sure say, what if it's true? Better not even discuss it, because you don't want to make their situation worse. Like, he has no empathy. So he couldn't even go, you know, even if it's never happened to you, he could at least say, well, I don't know what this could do. Better not, you know, better not touch it.
And that,
I'm all about discussing everything, but given the information he had, I think he probably should have rethought that and said, well, at least I didn't understand why when I came in was when he was saying, well, I should have asked her and I said this or this or this or this, but he cut out that first video. And I have a feeling that that would have told people about him a lot sooner had he not taken that video down and, you know, gave a fluff piece about himself right after that. And I took it as him being honest, saying, oh, I should have asked her. And I was like, well, he's being honest. But what he left out would have been much more damning if he had shown what he said in the first video and said he would have asked for her opinion. But it was very hard to grasp what his problem was. And sometimes when people confuse me that much, I'm like, well, I don't know what's going on there. I don't care, you know.
Right.
Because I can't, it's just like struggling in seaweed. The more you try to get to the bottom of something, the more you can't. And what I found out with him is that that obfuscation is deliberate.
Right.
He's deliberately muddying the waters so that you can't make a determination about whether or not he's been inappropriate. And that's how he waits till those things blow over.
Well, Linda Tannick McCleary says he's such a jealous person, which how many times do you hear him say others are jealous? Well, they're just jealous, or I don't know. It must be jealousy.
As always with him, if you want to know what motivates him, just hear what he accuses other people of. And that's exactly how
I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Oh, I can now.
Are you still with us? Are you having a stroke, Coco?
Yes. I think I may need a beverage.
I'm going to hear that sound.
That's right. And it's not a can of whoop ass either.
I'm having spritzers. Woo.
No, I'm having water. We just got off on an entirely different topic. Now, you see people in the chat here, there was no topic except for that Patricia Radcliffe Allanson.
Yeah, we're just going where the wind takes us. I'm just following along.
Do you guys want to talk about anything in particular?
Anything and everything. That's why it's pleasant to talk to you, because, you know.
From one topic, let me tell you, I can go from one topic to another. They don't call me ADHD for nothing.
I'm just like holding on for the ride here.
Hold on, people, because I'll tell you, you know, disclosure, I have a little bit of it. As you can probably. Do you ever notice in my videos, there has to be music and lights and flashing? It's very hard for me to make a video without that stimuli.
The first time, the second video of yours I listened to, I was like, I like this woman. So I clicked it and it was like 5 a.m. and all of a sudden it went, I was like, oh. Like, what the hell did I just tune into Howard Stern?
Yes, if I could do it, I would.
It's grown on me.
I like mold on it.
And I still turn it down, but then I turn it back up when you're talking. I like your videos. I can listen to them in the car too, so that's convenient.
I know you said that from so long ago, and I hate to talk. There's nobody in the chat talking here. People in the chat.
We're riveting. We're riveting.
Is that what it is?
They're going to get their wine.
You may want
I need to know what Nick Snyder got in his home. He said he was saying earlier on Twitter that he got a new addition to his house. And I know he had Bentley and he has a kitty.
So cute.
What is it? I'll have to look on Twitter because I need two things I need to know from the Nick Snyder camp. What's the t-shirt and what's the new edition? I have to know.
Nick, he picks. Does he know how to pick a puppy? He's
Oh
so
my gosh.
cute.
And what I love is, you ever watch people's videos with their animals and they're not touching them or cooing? The second he got that puppy, he's loving on him and petting him. It's satisfying to see that. You know, somebody who's actually giving affection to the animal. And oh my gosh, he is so cute. He's got him wrapped around his little paw.
Yeah, he does. And, you know, not grabbing his snout.
Yes. That bothers me so much. He grabs that snout, and the dog, of course, is enduring it because the dog is accepting the dominance from the pack leader. But that doesn't mean that the dog is enjoying that. You know, I don't think he's like horribly abusing his pet at all. I just think it's a little unnecessary stress.
It's annoying.
For the animal. Like, you see how, yeah, Yogi and Bentley need to be best friends too, like the way Jen and Nick are. Jen Gerard's dog Yogi is absolutely precious. He's another one that would have me wrapped around his paw.
Oh,
yeah, Linda, I don't like when he grabs the dog either. And and you can tell the dog is like making sure that he's being submissive enough. And that's just a dog's instinct. It's not like the dog is being tortured and the dog is not thinking, oh, my life sucks. But in those moments, I don't think that's the best way to treat your animal. I think that always showing your dog. I don't like those videos when people are like, Charlie, get off the bed, and the Chihuahua's like look cowering, and it's like, look how guilty he looks. He's not looking guilty. He's looking
at all.
He's being submissive to your dominance, and that's really a little bit stressful. I don't like to see people do that. Yogi is gorgeous. There's one video too where he just like, you know, unceremoniously dumps the dog into a tub and just kind of like manhandles it a little bit. It's like, what's wrong with you? Can you do anything that isn't, you know, immature?
I got some nerve. I maul my dog.
What do you do? Well, in a loving way, or like?
I hug him and mess with him, and he's just so fun.
Aw.
You know, like I don't know, he's just my bud. I love him. He's just so cool.
What kind of dog?
And German Shepherd.
Love them.
Yeah, I've had them for years.
Got a puppy German Shepherd, and it's growing so fast. He's so cute.
Are the ears up yet?
Oh, yes. Big, huge, dopey ears. And he's best friends with the old timer. Like, she has an old golden retriever, and they're buds. Yeah.
Oh,
old Labrador. And yeah, they're like buddies.
Well, so wait, because that little puppy will annoy him to death.
Oh, yeah. Yes, he's so cute. He's just, they've had him since he was so little. I guess it's been a couple months now, but he's just growing so fast and just so cute.
When I had my female, that's the one I just had to have put down. When you had yours.
Yeah. Like right after I think.
Yeah, it was so sad. But when I got her, she was so tiny. And when her ears went up, she looked like a bat girl. That's what we used to call her, bat girl, because her ears were huge.
I named Sally because the first time I saw her, well, she wasn't a field, but that wasn't why. She was in a field, but her ears went out and they were so huge. She looked like the flying nun. She looked like she was going to take off. And I named her Sally thinking I'd have her temporarily, but of course it became like 8 years of love.
Oh, I love dogs. They're just so sweet.
My Kai is recovering. She had a little bout with something called, I don't know if you've heard of it, vestibular disease, where it's like an inner ear thing, where it's like getting vertigo times 100. And she just started rolling. And we didn't know if she was having a seizure. My son called me at work. And I left and I took her to, thankfully, her vet saw her immediately. She gets better medical care than I do. And they said she'll be okay. She's, she's a senior. Chatoodle. She's lying next to me right now. And
it happens when they get older because Mayan had it, Kira, last year.
Yeah.
And she had no appetite. She wouldn't eat.
Right.
She kept falling when she stood up. So we had to get that, that gel nutrient mix. Oh, I forgot what the name of it is.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It's almost like they use it for puppies and like doggy astronaut food.
Yes. Mm-hmm. We did that. We did the canned food wet in a
Cat food
syringe.
saved my dog. Cat food. She was not hungry for anything, wouldn't drink. And then
She
I
ate the
just
cat
pet her.
food.
She would just lay there for like over a whole day. I just pet her, pet her, pet her. And finally she got up and she drank a little. And it was very slow. It took over a week before she was eating normally, back again, and then walking a little bit on her own. We had to carry her everywhere for the better part of a week, and I was really scared. She didn't have it
Me
because of an ear
too.
infection, as sometimes happens, but she recovered.
Oh,
Now she's better than ever, and I'm so glad she's got a little reprieve and she's got more time because she's an old gal, and I don't want to lose. I wasn't ready to lose her right after Sally, and it was still cold and nasty out. I'm like, just let me have her as a
no.
gardening buddy this summer. And
Yeah.
but she's still with.
Mine, are you there?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Um, Mine, her head tilt, it got better, but it never was the same
Mm-hmm.
after
That does
that
happen.
first. Yeah. Does yours still have a tilt or she's
No, no, and in fact, she has
good
more energy
dog?
than she did before. It's almost like,
Ah,
yeah, she's just better than she was, and has a lot of energy. And she goes outside. She's like runs around like crazy. So I feel really happy that she's better. For another week after she started recovering, she couldn't stand her head touched, and I thought maybe
hmm.
she had headache or something. But she's a whole lot better.
Well, just think how dizzy they must be if they can't even walk.
Yes, and the thing is with smart dogs like her, part of the problem is they get traumatized from it. It's very upsetting for them. They get depressed. Like you didn't think a dog could get that way, but she was just like, what's happening to me? What? And she was just so out of sorts and depressed. And they said that you have to just keep them calm because they're traumatized. And so I just pet her and loved her, just like where she could stand to be touched, and loved her and sat with her. And she just, the good thing is that when your pet loves you, just your presence makes
Yeah.
them feel better. So I sat
Mhm.
with her and pet her and loved her until she got better. I had her in the bed with me, slept in the guest
And
room.
she probably has a little depression losing the other dog, no?
At first, yes. And in
Yeah.
fact, because she's a little dog, she never would go out into the yard without Sally. Sally was like her protector. So
Yeah.
I have to go out with her off the back deck into the yard. And because she's smart. She's like, I'm little, something could carry me away and the
Right.
yard. And so now she's back to where she thinks she owns the place, and she's much more comfortable. There's a stray cat outside. There's also an opossum. I call her Blossom the opossum, but she's probably a dude. And she comes to the door at night. She comes to the door at night for food too. My husband's like, stop feeding the ugly cat.
That is so weird.
I
We
know.
have um Miss Muffet. I was just saying that on a live stream yesterday. The little groundhog, she's so cute.
Aw.
She is adorable, but I'll tell you what, I don't know if it's her, the same one as we had last year, but she's any cucumbers, my
Aw.
zucchini, she's eating them all.
They're good. They're little garbage disposals.
Yeah, well, that was pointless to have a garden, except for basil. They don't like basil,
You need an opossum. They're good for the garden.
are they?
Yeah, they eat grubs and mice, but they'll eat anything. But this one is
With
eats
a big
he
old
really likes
tail.
dry cat food.
Ugh, they'll have babies too.
Oh, Nick
You'll
went
have who did
by.
Nick?
Nick, yeah. I want to see what his new addition is and stuff like that. But I have to go anyway because I have to get ready for bed and stuff. I'm really tired. It's been a long week, so I
Yes,
need to
and
get
there's we've been on for quite a while, and there's only
yeah,
like
time
14 of
flies
us.
when I talk to you. It was really fun.
We'll do it again, but next time let's do it and we'll talk about the domestic violence and whatever it goes into, it does.
Sure.
All right, sounds
We'll
good.
see you all on Nick's stream later. Bye.
Yes, everybody in the chat, take care.
Thanks.